welcome to give you an insight into what hyperbaric oxygen can do, and I'll highlight some of the benefits and the topical things which is presently in vogue as far as hyperbaric oxygen is concerned. I'm glad to tell you that we are one of the first to get this chamber, the present chamber, which is called a modular multi-place chamber. This is a state-of-the-art, modern, latest, and is a modular chamber which removes all the drawbacks of the previous chambers. I can also tell you that this is one of the safest machines available in the market. This is an American made called the Tecna machine, which is very safe and which is also very user friendly. The advantage of this chamber is that you can sit, you can relax, you can actually browse through some books if you want, or you can also take the latest iPad, which is allowed. Now, as far as the principles of hyperbaric oxygen is concerned, I would like to again tell you today that the Nobel Prize for medicine for 2019 was given to people who were researched on the mechanism of oxygen usage which happens in the body in human bodies. So that's a huge step because we are studying into the mechanism of oxygen, and this is again very topical because what I'm going to tell you is also about oxygen under pressure. As you all know, oxygen is the most important ingredient for life, and it's like having a fuel. The energy for the oxygen is required for the production of energy in the body, and oxygen is available in the air, but we tend to have problems because of the pollution, because of vehicular emissions of oxygen, and also the general pollution in the air. So we don't tend to get the appropriate amount of oxygen, and therefore the general well-being is affected. The other reason why oxygen does not get properly utilized in the body is because most of us have sedentary lives, there is no activity, the joints are not properly exercised, and therefore that leads to lethargy and also the cause of not being well. So oxygen is dissolved in the blood and is also attached to what's called the hemoglobin in the blood, and this is how oxygen is carried from the air to every cell in the body. And the oxygen which is made available to the cells is very important for the proper functioning of every cell in the body. There are however certain cells in the body like the joints, the ligaments, the back, the spine, and some cartilages which can extract oxygen only from the plasma, and these places do not have hemoglobin, which is the essential ingredient which is available in the blood for carrying oxygen. So these tissues are vital for normal mobility of a human body, and these depend on dissolved oxygen in the blood. So hyperbaric oxygen provides this extra oxygen which is carried to all these vital tissues and they regenerate. And unfortunately, these are the tissues which actually undergo a lot of wear and tear, and the wear and tear is repaired or regenerated by the body every day, and we require good supply of oxygen to be delivered to these vital tissues so that they can repair and perform normally, and therefore increase the wellness of our human being as such. Now what happens is that normally the air has 20% oxygen at 1 atmospheric pressure, and that gives you only a limited amount of oxygen dissolved in the blood, which is enough for our day-to-day activities. But in order to improve the oxygenation, hyperbaric oxygen is very widely used for wellness also. And as I told you before, because of the pollution in the air, sedentary life, and improper sleep and all these things, the vital organs do not get proper oxygen, and hyperbaric oxygen chambers are a real boon to these people to rejuvenate and recreate the wear and tear of the tissues which happens in these tissues. So what happens is there is no drugs, there are no sophisticated investigations to be done. All you have to do is sit in this chamber and inhale oxygen, And the chamber is, as I said, is a very, very sophisticated machine, very safe machine. And you sit inside the chamber and inhale oxygen. As I said before, you will be given close to about 1.8 to 2 atmospheric pressure oxygen, and will also be given 100% oxygen. So this is against the 25% oxygen available in the air at 1 atmospheric pressure. So the difference in pressure has to be maintained, and you have to attain that pressure, and therefore as you step inside the chamber, you will be provided with a mask which will enable you to breathe the extra oxygen, and initially the oxygen you breathe will be at 1 atmospheric pressure. So gradually what happens is the air which is present in the chamber is removed, and this is replaced with 2 atmospheric oxygen with 100% oxygen. And actually you will not notice any difference in the oxygen, because oxygen is odorless, it is colorless, so you won't actually feel what is happening. But what you will also feel is exactly like what you may feel when you are flying an aircraft. So as you ascend from the ground to the up in the air, you will find that there is a pressure change, and you may find the ear getting blocked. So you will experience something similar to that in the chamber initially, which you can overcome by normally what you do in an aircraft, you just close your mouth and then take a deep breath so that the ear pressure gets equalized. And this takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Then you reach a state where you are at 2 atmospheric pressures, and that continues for about 1 hour. 1 hour, and then during that state you will find that you are very relaxed. You can sit down, and you don't have to fear about anything, because there will be a nurse who will be accompanying you inside, who will make sure that you are very comfortable, and she will allay all fears if there is any. And after 1 hour, then we call it decompression, where the 2 atmospheric pressure will be brought down to 1 atmospheric pressure. So same thing may happen when the chamber is being decompressed. You may find some changes in the ear, which again you can easily overcome by breathing deeply or closing the nose and having a breath. So once the cycle is done for 1.5 hours, you come out of the chamber feeling very relaxed, and you will find that your head becomes very clear, and you feel much more rejuvenated. One of the constant things which patients tell us, or normal people tell us, is the glow they feel when they go inside the chamber, and you can actually visibly see the glow in the face. The skin actually is a very responsive and actually the most expressive parts of the body, and you can actually see that the facial glow happens and the skin becomes much better. So not only the facial skin, but also the rest of the body skin gets better.